Hello, I'm Simon Owens, Assistant Managing Editor at U.S. News & World Report. Here with me is reporter Seth Cline. Today we're discussing a recent spate of mass shootings and whether they're increasing in occurrence, and if so, what's causing this trend. Now, Seth, you spoke to a few experts recently. What are they saying? Is this recent spate of killings a trend, or is it just kind of like an anomaly?
Well, their opinions differ a little bit, but there have been a lot of shootings in the news lately. There's been the Milwaukee Sikh temple shooting. There was the Empire State shooting last week. This week there was a Maryland school shooting, the Aurora shooting, Texas A&M, on and on and on. But that doesn't necessarily mean there's been more mass shootings. It just means there's been more media coverage. So it's sort of hard to predict right now. The only way to really know is look back in years past. See the numbers and how they compare. And
they say that the data is hard to track on what's considered a mass shooting versus just a large group of shootings and differentiating the two and things like that.
Right. Yeah. There's a different sort of way of calculating these for each professor or each agency that tracks them. So there's serial killers that can kill over a larger period of time in different places. There's mass shootings that are all in one place. There's workplace shootings where it's like former employees come back, like what happened in the Empire State Building. Those are all sort of different data sets that make it hard to like pinpoint one particular number.
And do they have any ideas about the causes, specifically the recent spate that we've been seeing?
They don't really. I mean, there's always copycat effect where people see what happens in the news, they see the coverage that it gets, or they see how a particular shooter or alleged shooter is lionized in the press, and they try to imitate it, and that's definitely a possibility. But like I said, most of the time it's hard to say, and it's really impossible to know whether it's happening more often or less often, just because of the media coverage.
And what have they talked about government policies to kind of curb this, both in the mental health arena, also gun control?
Yeah, so I mean, every time these shootings make the news, that is obviously a topic, is mental health and gun control especially. But rarely does that actually change. There's rarely any policy changes as a result. So a lot of times companies and the government itself tries to focus on preventing individual incidents by predicting when a particular individual is going to say, go off the rocker or whatever. And there are a few ways that you can predict that. One of the experts I talked to said that people who harbor grudges for a very long time, so say you get skipped over for promotion, or you don't get relocated to where you wanted to go or something, the people that really harbor that and don't forget it and take it very personal, those are people that are pretty likely, or not likely, but that's sort of a warning sign of someone doing something drastic. And another big warning sign is big changes that happen right before something could happen. So, for example, James Holmes, the alleged shooter in the Aurora incident, he dropped out of school, he dyed his hair, and then that preceded the incident. And in Fort Hood, there was the alleged shooter Hassan gave away all his possessions about a week before the actual shooting. So those can be sort of indicators of something not being quite right.
Okay, well, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for joining us at U.S. News & World Report. To learn more, visit us on the web at usnews.com.